you have to create your own work. And what's so cool is when you find the band, we look at ourselves as like an indie rock band. When you find the guys who are just as fucking crazy as you, you're unstoppable. Because no doesn't scare us. You know what I mean? Like, it can't scare you. In fact, I like take so much pride in when I like denial and like rejection. Like, I'm like, hell yeah. Click, add it, click, like it's cool. And that was my discovery. It's like, yo, you can be a part of this industry, which is forever, it's changing nonstop, but just be a soldier in this thing or become a player in it rather than just someone who works their way up into the studio system, which honestly I never jived with anyway. It's an energy about indie creating.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast, episode 106. In this episode, I speak with writer and director Blake Tamarkin. Blake and I have been talking about having this conversation for quite a while, and we finally made it happen tonight. It was fantastic. It was inspirational. We talked about his film Third Wheel and a whole lot more. To watch this podcast, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@thesamdeverpodcast. To listen to the podcast, be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Here's my conversation with Blake. Blake Tamarkin, welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast.
Sam, thanks for having me, man. Long awaited.
Oh, yes. No, I have been looking very forward to this. And
me too.
We've been hyping this up. I love how you and I are both, we don't want to know anything about each other going into this.
Yeah, we see each other out. It's like, nope, just save it.
It's like, I do a podcast and I know you make films. Like, that's about it.
That's it. Save the rest for the show.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Good. I feel good, man. Yeah, it's good to finally be here. We've been, I'm an avid follower of your show. I think what you're doing is awesome, especially with Playhouse West and getting a lot of those members on the podcast is awesome. And, in this day and age, it's all about the resources, and you're contributing to those resources, like being out in the world. Like, this is part of somebody's film school, is listening to stuff like this. So good job.
Thank you for saying and recognizing that. Yeah. And that was actually one of the main motivations too. And especially bringing on Playhouse people,
right.
Is just after going to that school and being exposed to the talent, the teachers, the knowledge,
right.
It's like, man, that'd be cool just to be able to share that with other people in other industries and whatever out there too.
Well, in this day and age, it's not even just, there was a burst of it because we all needed it during COVID. But this is, you can do this. You can do this in your apartment like you're doing it now. You can do it in your garage like we did with the movie. It's a do-it-yourself kind of culture going on right now, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and that seems to be the vibe I'm catching, especially like, wherever the industry
right.
is going in filmmaking and media and whatnot. It's like, shoot, you just might as well start doing your own thing.
Dude, do it. And what else are you going to do? Sit around with your dick in your hand? Might as well do something.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hats off. Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then I will hit the volleyball right back.
Cool.
Saw your film Third Wheel.
Good.
Fantastic.
You liked it?
I loved it, man.
Good. I echo that sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good to hear. We're it's every screen. We're on the festival circuit right now, but every screening, because we're doing it ourselves, is a test screening for us. We've had some home games. We played it for the home crowd in Chicago where we shot it and where we're from. And obviously everybody loves a home game is a home game. Everybody loves it no matter what. But it's cool to get it in front of like a crowd, that doesn't have bias or has to love it. So yeah, every screening's a test screening. I loved the last one we did. It's getting there.
And so you're making edits after every test screening?
After every screening, we're making edits. At some point you got to say it's done, but when it comes to sound, I think the story's ultimately there. But yeah, we're making this thing ourselves. It's kind of like your podcast in our garage. So that's the creative freedom that you get from being an indie filmmaker, is that you come out with notes. We can fix it. Like, we can totally fix it, So it's exciting. I'm glad you liked it.
I love that. I've never actually thought about that. So that's interesting. So while you're showing it on the circuit, you're still making your edits.
Yeah.
Is that to prepare it for when a distributor's ready to have it? Like if a Netflix or
Right.
someone's like, hey, we want this, you're getting it to that point.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly right. I mean, we've had, I think this last festival screening was maybe our 6th screening, and it's completely different from the first one we did exactly a year ago, like completely different. And yeah, even, when we played it for our hometown folks back in Chicago, it's a completely different open. So yeah, we've been going back and just tightening it and listening to the feedback. We've been so blessed to get feedback from everybody, and there's good is the enemy of or whatever they say. I don't know what the fuck.
Good's the enemy of great.
Yeah, good is the enemy of great. So like you don't want to keep, at some point you got to say no, but dude, this is it's an art project. If we see a sound mix here or something wrong with that, or maybe we didn't, Anthony's the lead actor in Third Wheel, he's so heavily involved in the post-production process with me. So if we don't like something or it doesn't jive, we go back there and we take a look at it. It's all like experimenting, which is the coolest thing about doing it yourself,
I love that mind frame because it reminds me of what we do with the podcast. Like after every episode, it's like we analyze the heck out of it.
Right.
Oh, this right here, that little thing right there. And it's like to some that may be overthinking, and most people won't catch stuff like that. But you have to, I feel, have that mind frame.
Yeah,
it is that from good to great mentality.
Right. Absolutely. And that's, that's what separates it. A lot of people can put their name on a project and call it done. I'm sure maybe someday I'll do that too. But with all the stuff that we're doing, especially early on in our careers, there's no point to rush it, So take the time, experiment. I mean, we're working on a proof of concept right now. My partners, Anthony Casabianca and Evan Adams and myself, we're working on something right now. And I mean, it's done. Anybody else would say it's done, right? But, let's try this. And it'll take over an hour to do this edit for it to ultimately fail and not work. And we go back to the original. We're like, okay, wait. And that was not a waste of time. At least we know that we can't do it that way, So it's all experiment. It's all experimenting. You got to be open to it.
And all that adds up for your next project. You're like, oh, I learned from that one where it was only an hour, but like if you try to do that experiment on your next feature, like, oh, that'd have been like a whole week.
Exactly.
And then, but you're like, oh, I know that's not going to work. Or I know, well, actually I got an idea. Yeah. You just learn from it. It just all tallies up.
It's all experimenting. It's all learning. And that's what's so cool about finding the right team. And it takes time, I've been here for 10 years in LA. I've only just found these guys. It just takes time, and you gotta be patient, and you gotta be willing to do the work and sweat and do this work in your apartment. You gotta be willing to do that, oh yeah, I want to sell this script. Yeah, cool. Sell that script and it sits nowhere for 10 years, or just go ahead and make it yourself, or at least try. That's film school. Like we made this movie 2 years ago, and Anthony and I talk about it all the time. We've gotten 2 years better. As in when we screen the movie, it's actually low key hard for me to watch because I know how much better I would have done each thing that I see in the movie. That's like a maturity, a consciousness that's really hard to do or like to experience. But it's sweet because I can't wait till everybody sees what we do next. We've gotten 2 years better, and 5 million edits better, and trying to figure out this and that. It's the whole thing, how indie's coming back. It's just exciting. You can learn it, you can do it.
Yeah. This is phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
You came with the energy tonight.
I did. Sorry. Yeah, I work outside. I came from work, so I'm ready.
That vitamin D charge from the sun.
There you go,
you're
man.
Ready to go. And
yeah, it's like nice in here. This feels like there's AC in here. This is great.
yeah. To the guy wearing the sport coat and the turtleneck, just trying to that stubbornness right there.
Yeah.
But or dedication, we don't know which one.
Well, you look fantastic.
Thank you. Like I said, you pulled up in the pure director apparel.
Thank you. Yeah. This is my good shirt.
Yeah. One note. So before we dive into Third Wheel,
sure.
I too I am from Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
What part of Chicago are you from?
I'm from the west suburbs, so I'm from LaGrange. It's like I don't know, 20 miles outside the city, west of the city.
Okay.
The burbs. I'm from the burbs.
Could you give us a little backstory of how you ended up from there
Yeah.
to LA?
Yeah. So born and raised in in LaGrange, this amazing town, which we'll get into. It's where we ended up shooting Third Wheel. But born and raised there. My dad and my mom both worked downtown on the trading at the trading floors, like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is going to be the heart of one of my future stories. But my dad, when I was about 12 or 13, he's got like this, I can't even explain. He's got this bad back, something with his vertebrae. Pretty much the doctor's like, in the winters are so harsh in Chicago that he wouldn't even be able to grasp a fork like in the winter. And he was a young guy, maybe 40. And they're like, yeah, you got this thing with your spine. Long story short, he had neck surgery. And they're like, yeah, if you don't get out of these harsh winters, you'll be in a wheelchair within 10 years, and he was 40 at the time. So within 3 months, my dad and my mom, they went to Arizona, the driest, warmest place you can find in the U.S. And they got a house and migrated all of us. I'm one of 4, so I have 3 siblings. We all moved to Arizona. So I went to high school there. I finished out junior high and went to high school in Arizona and a little cow farm. It's crazy. When we went from Chicago, we lived on like a busy road. We were like in a jiving, town outside the city, but it was a city in itself. And when we got off the plane and we started driving through Arizona, cow farms, no street lights. Now it's exploded, but we were like, whoa, this is culture shock. This is the middle of this is the boonies, And yeah, my family's still there. I went to high school, stayed in state, went to University of Arizona. Actually, all my siblings did. We're all Wildcats, bear down. And yeah. And then once I graduated, I came out to LA. I always wanted to, take a dive at film and TV. So that's what brought me to LA. I slowly made my way out west. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
So, I have similar to you.
Yeah.
Except I had to stop in Vegas after Tucson.
Right. Good.
Then to LA. What part of Arizona did you grow up in?
It's like Chandler. It's called Chandler.
Oh.
It's like Gilbert
Yeah.
to Chandler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People know Arizona. It's like on the map now because everybody goes to Scottsdale and stuff. But yeah, it's a booming town. So a lot of talent there. I played sports in high school. But it's on the map for sports. But my sisters and my family, they're like all dancers. So they have a dance studio down in Arizona. And it's a triple threat studio. It's called Full Out Performance Dance Company. Shout out Full Out Performance. And so we're all in the arts. We're establishing that in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No, I know that area pretty well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Had some
Top.
family that. Yeah. Awatuki.
Awatuki. Yeah.
I grew up going out there.
Cool. Yeah.
But that area's exploded too.
It's
out that
insane.
way.
Every time I go back, there's a lot more subdivisions and, it's crazy.
And not to get geographical and derail us here, but one thing I will say about Phoenix is it is huge.
Oh, it's
Like
insane.
and LA's obviously huge,
Right.
But when you look at Phoenix on a map, you're like, oh, okay, Scottsdale's here,
Mhm.
Gilbert's down here, blah blah blah, and then you get out there.
No, it's
It's
insane.
way farther
Yeah,
apart than
like 50 miles. You know what I mean? It's not, and 50 miles in LA, it's like you might as well live in a different state because you're not going there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's not. Yeah, it's booming over there. It's crazy.
Okay,
A lot of untapped land.
yeah, tons of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you come to LA.
Come to LA.
What's the first move?
First move is I got right into it. So after college, I interned for a couple production companies. One of them being, Ben Stiller's production company. So I got to work with them in development, and that really was like my my introduction into how this all works, like the industry. I was working in development at this production company where you read scripts and supply coverage, and I'm watching all these great people come in for meetings and in the early phases of development, which is before pre-production, watching a script go from a meeting to a final product. And it was really cool. And the people I got to meet within there, like while I was working there, it was insane, but it was more just like observing how this works. Oh, so this is a production company. Oh, this is how this works, right? Like, oh, they take meetings with writers. Oh, I got to write. And then I got to write a script and pitch it to this guy because this company will make it if they like it. And so it was like, that was the main thing. It's an introduction to how it all worked. I got some on-set experience as a PA and yeah, ended up working in New York for a little bit, just with a big WME, a big agency, and did some, so I was like kind of building, I was making myself a well-rounded asset to the hierarchy of what it takes to be in the entertainment industry, you know? So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Did you know going in that directing was the thing that you eventually wanted to do?
No, good question. I went in with like, because of where I was working, I'm like, oh, I want to be a producer. So I want to sit behind the desk, have scripts brought to me, and make those movies, which that's still part of the plan. You know, it's hard to generate your own material. So it's really nice when you find people and who want to make a movie with you. But I started realizing that the ticket in, is not, because pretty much I would sit there and be like, oh, and any internship I ever had or anywhere I ever worked, I'm like, oh, okay, like you have to take advantage of this, right? Like you're not just an intern. What sets you apart? Like what idea do I have now that maybe they might be interested in? So I'll send an email like, hey, well, can I pitch this to you guys? And it was successful. Like while I was interning, I was pitching ideas to very high up executives, at production companies and these agencies, and building my hub. But then I realized, like, that you can do that for so long. The ticket in is not necessarily writing like the script. Maybe the ticket in is like, especially nowadays, making a movie. And that's when I really started like writing Third Wheel. Third Wheel is not even the first movie I wrote. I have a lot of things that I can't make on an indie budget. But in order to get those things made, you take a risk and you go out and you don't write, you make the low budget indie. Like Favreau is Jon Favreau writing Swingers. They did it themselves. They didn't get rich off Swingers, but he's Jon Favreau because of Swingers. You know what I mean? It's a domino effect. You have to create your own work. And what's so cool is when you find the band, we look at ourselves as like an indie rock band. When you find the guys who are just as fucking crazy as you, you're unstoppable. Because no doesn't scare us. You know what I mean? Like it can't scare you. In fact, I take so much pride in when I like denial and like rejection. Like I'm like, hell yeah, click, add it, click. It's cool. So it's and that was my discovery. It's like, yo, you can be a part of this industry, which is forever. It's changing nonstop. But just be a soldier in this thing, or become a player in it, rather than just just someone who works their way up into the studio system, which honestly I never jived with anyway. There's something cool. It's an energy about indie creating.
So you always had that feeling you'd be doing.
Yeah. And I didn't, I studied film at U of A. I have to thank my parents. When you go to college, I never looked at filmmaking as a career. Like I always loved, all of us making jackass videos or something when we're kids, which is, I always had the camcorder. I was the guy. When my friends would skate, I was the guy filming them, or we were making jackass videos, or, you don't even realize. And then I made a little film for 6th grade, which I never even realized, now I would think it's like a really cool short film. But up until Third Wheel, I'd really never made anything. I was just a student observing. I didn't have the grades at U of A to get actually into the College of Film. But a little loophole, you can like major in liberal arts and then reach out to the advisors of all the film schools and say, hey, can I take your class? And they all say yes. So nobody at U of A knows that I wasn't a film major, but they think I was, because I was in I took every single class, and, but yeah, you just got to make your own way. It's cool it's cool. What else you got to lose?
I love that.
Yeah.
So question leading up to is Third Wheel your first film you've ever made?
Third Wheel is my first film. Yeah, I ever made.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean that as a compliment to you. Like that's a heck of a one to come out with the gates with.
Cool. I appreciate that. Yeah.
It sounds like, though, as you explain your story, though, it's not like you're like, oh, I think I'll start making film. This has been in the making for a very long time.
Yeah, no.
And you've been around a lot of, it sounds like, talented, Stiller's production group and all that. You're around some probably pretty key people.
Yeah, but never realized that, to go back to your question, I ramble, but no, I didn't think directing was the thing for me. I did it I mainly did it out of necessity. And then you end up loving it. Like I really do love it. I never really understood what each role was, to be honest. Like, oh, what's a producer? Oh, this is what a producer does. Okay, well, what's the writer do? Oh, the writer writes the script. All right, well, I can't. Well, now I write third wheel. Well, why would I have anybody else direct it? What's the director do? Oh, the director does it. Okay, well, I know the story, so I'll direct it. You know, you just figure everything out. And so many, if you listen to you, like, there's so many things that can stop you or scare you from just taking the leap, that people end up not doing things. So, not, oh, you got to do a couple short films before you make a movie. But I didn't. So what, am I not going to make this movie? No, you just figure it out. So we figured it out.
I love that, and I relate to you in my own way. Or anyone doing their own thing, these titles and these roles we get caught up in. But when you're indie and you're producing your own stuff, well, guess what? You're probably doing about 10 of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have the luxury of having, like we were talking before we even started this, of having a team of 20 people.
Right.
However many people. You might be the director and you're the producer. Oh, you're probably going to be the writer.
Yep.
A lot of other things. And yeah, guess what? You might end up having to do some PA stuff too. Like it's just, I always love the stories I hear of the CEO who is willing to mop the floors. At the same time.
Absolutely. And I think that's cool. I think that's cool. Like on Third Wheel, I was also getting the catering and, like also doing, we didn't have a production designer, and that's a very, very, very important role. I think it's one of the most important, but we didn't have the luxury of having those positions, as part of this production. So we had to do it ourselves. And I'm very privileged. I have a great family who's my team. Like they really are. They all stepped up to the plate. All my siblings, they're actually in the movie, but when they're not, they're behind the camera and they're grabbing the catering, or they're making sure that the actors are okay, or they were doing this, that everybody was going above and beyond, It
was a team thing.
Team thing. You always figure it out. You can always figure it out.
Okay. So what was the initial idea for Third Wheel? Like how did that spawn into your brain?
Sure.
You're like, I think we might want to write this.
Right. So it was, like I said, Third Wheel was not my first script. There's passion projects that I really, really want to do still to this day, 10 years in the making. And what I've realized, you try to shop these scripts around and you'll get some bites and you'll sit around and you'll get so excited for, they read it. Oh, you get some notes. Great. Okay. This, that. Before you know, it's been 3 years and you're sitting around with these scripts and no work to show. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. And that's what I'm talking about, all the resources. I am a student first, always learning. Even before I got here, I was listening to your podcast. This morning, I was listening to another podcast. I'm always learning. So, and that's a luxury that people didn't have even, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, definitely not 20, 30 years ago. The people that I look up to, they just did it. Like, Favreau went and just did it. He didn't like what he was reading for as an actor from all these different scripts and going on auditions. So he wrote what he knew with his best friend, and went out and made that movie. So you can sit around and do it. You can sit around and just wait for your stuff. Hopefully that someone catches on and realizes how amazing you are, or you can create work for yourself. So that's what happened with Third Wheel. I have all these scripts, but I'm like, well, wait a minute. The Ticket In's not writing all these amazing scripts. Everybody's got an amazing script in LA. The Ticket In is making a fucking movie, right? And short films are great too. Like short films are awesome. Like I was first going to start with a short film. It's like, and then when you start talking about the short film, you're like, well, wait a minute. Let's just make a feature out of it. Let's go and make the low budget indie feature, and that'll be our calling card. So Third Wheel was born out of the idea that this will be our calling card, and you work your ass off, and there's a long pre-production process. It all started in COVID, where I wrote the script and we did a table read with all my friends in my garage, and it's really cool. Oh, Blake's making a movie, but you never really think they're going to do it. And then, we're privileged. We got people involved, and mainly, like I said, mainly the family, and did a casting call. That's how I found Anthony and my amazing actress Carly Wilson, and Kelsey Tarantino is my girlfriend's sister. But we all came together with a common goal. Like, oh, let's make this as a team. Like we're all emotionally invested in this thing. And that's really what it was. I looked at films like Swingers or Eddie Burns, who's one of my favorite directors, just because he's so immersed in like the indie landscape of like make it yourself. He makes $25,000 films and they're phenomenal. I love them. And that's what Third Wheel was. I'm like, well, what's my low budget indie? I happen to be going through a breakup at the time. Yeah, breakup movie's been done 100 times, but it hasn't been done by you. You know, what do you bring to the table? What's different? I geek out on those kind of films. Like personally, I go out of my way to watch whatever indies are coming out or how they made it. I geek out on like how they made it, or I do my research before I even watch the movie and, oh, dude, they made this for that. Oh, that's his brother. Oh, this is cool. Not saying that should be the whole scope of the movie. The movie needs to stand alone as a good movie, but that's I geek out on stuff like that. And finding those projects and making those projects yourselves, it's kind of the calling card. It's the way to get in,
Yeah.
But I'll let you know if it works out.
Well, no, you knocked it out of the park. I mean, your brother was fantastic.
Great.
By the way, he was hilarious.
Yeah.
Eric, what were your thoughts?
Just going off what you were saying, like, you said a breakup movie's been done a bunch, but like I was expecting it to go a certain way and it didn't. So I thought that was cool. So it was not your traditional, like, oh, I don't want to do any spoilers or anything for anyone listening, but like I was expecting it to kind of follow this traditional thing and it was going to end a certain way, but it didn't.
Right.
So I actually really enjoyed that. I thought that was like a breath of fresh air.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the theme, you can't really be comfortable with somebody else until you're comfortable with yourself. I think it's and it's all from personal experience, but I think it's an underrepresented theme, lesson in life. We're always trying to, we all want to be partnered up. We all want that person. Oh, as soon as I find that person, dude, as soon as you find yourself, that's a very dangerous person. Take yourself out to dinner, date yourself. Everything's half off when you're not in a couple, but it's, date yourself. And that's the overall theme. It's like the underrepresented impact of learning to be okay by yourself, which is, in the third wheel are the character. That's what he goes through. It's trials and errors and heartbreak, and then this journey. And then when he finally finds a perfect girl, she's perfect, but she's not perfect for you right now, because you need to be by yourself right now. That's an okay thing to do. It's just be by yourself, learn about yourself, date yourself. It's awesome.
It's pretty realistic too, to be honest. Like it's kind of fake to be like, oh, someone, or waiting for someone to like save you and like complete you. Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of a really negative way to live. And like that is kind of common in a lot of films. It's like, oh, whoever the main character is meets that other main character, and then like now they're good. Right. It's like, but that's not really how it works in life. You really do got to figure your own shit out, work through it, come to terms with like really what's going on, and then once you're cool, then you can find your person. Right. That's usually how it works in real life.
Yeah, and usually when you stop looking, people are like looking for this. Usually when you stop looking, that's when something unexpected happens. And yeah, it's a journey. It's fun. We're all the main character of our own movie, and that's how I felt when I was like living Third Wheel. It happened to me. I went through a breakup, and I found myself following around my best friends who were in love, and I was watching them live out the fairy tale that I had sought for myself. And you can put on a face and everything's so awesome, but then reality kicks in, and they're having fun in their bedroom, or wrestling around or watching TV, and you're in your room by yourself where there used to be a partner right there, but no, you're by yourself. It's like going to a party. It's like you can go to someone's house party. But you always had somebody on your arm, which even if you didn't know someone, at least you had someone to talk to, right? So you blend in. Well, what's it like when that person's not there anymore? You're going to that same house party, and now you don't have somebody to like blend in. You have to really observe yourself, like sit with yourself, does anxiety kick in? Do you start rubbing? You know, what happened? So that's what the movie's about. It's like the journey to just find you. Who are you? Get to know you, you know? So yeah, and that's what it came from.
I love this because I realize that this podcast can go a completely other direction.
I was gonna say it is.
We were TV and film.
I know.
We're going this way.
Yeah. Well, the third
In a
wheel is
good
a
way.
labor of love, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's from you asked like what made you write Third Wheel?
Yeah.
I said there's other stuff, but you make the low budget indie and you write what you know. I was going through a breakup at that time.
Yeah.
That's why I wrote it.
No, and that those are the best pieces of art that happen
Right.
usually, are people that experience something and it has purpose for you.
Yep.
Because I agree with you and what Eric said, you know, completely. You really, one of the most valuable things is when you are completely comfortable being by yourself.
Yeah.
But society and other people like, oh, how come you're not with anyone? And
Mhm.
I love the term people who say being single is not a disease.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of society goes, oh, you need to find somebody. And, you know, they're throwing
Yeah.
dating apps in your face.
Right.
And Valentine's Day commercials
Yeah,
come. It's
right.
like, man, like I love what you said, but just take yourself out to dinner.
Dude.
Take yourself on walks, self dates.
You're
the
on your own
movies.
clock.
Yeah.
Like when I was, you know, it was a big change when I first became single. It was like, oh, I don't have anyone to consult with what our next move is. Oh, I'm gonna go to the beach. I don't care if it's for 6 minutes or 3 hours. I'm just gonna drive to the beach. I'm gonna park. In LA, that's a big deal because it's fucking hard. But I'm gonna do it, even if I stay for 2 seconds, you know, 2 minutes, whatever. It's become comfortable with that, and it takes a while. It really does. It took me a really, really long time, and it made me write Third Wheel. I mean, the movie you saw now is not the movie I first wrote. Like nowhere near. I was discovering it while I was writing it, and while I was writing it, I did notice, like I was looking. It was almost as if I was watching my movie. Like I was like, oh, what would I do in this situation? Oh, this is crazy. I'm sitting here. I'm really not feeling good. Why am I so anxious? You know, just watch yourself. Oh, let's see what would happen next. Well, what do I think would happen next? What would I coach myself to do? Oh, let's go for a walk. Oh, let's take myself out to a sushi dinner. It's so interesting. We're all just the main characters of our own movie. And that's what Third Wheel is. I'm not saying it's an autobiographical, but it's written from the heart. And I really think, especially when it comes to people's first movies, they say the most personal is the most creative, right? It's true. I geek out on those movies, and you can always tell when it's written from the heart, you know, rather than people are so fixated on the budgets or what's this or who can I get to be in my movie? All right, while you're trying that, why don't you just go shoot it or write it, you know? So.
Oh, and I love, and Anthony was stellar. And
Mhm.
everyone was great. Like everyone was great in it. And I loved, I heard someone say at the festival, you know, it's an indie film, but man, like when the locations you guys
Mhm.
had, and like, I mean, dude, if I were flipping through Netflix and I saw that come on, it would totally fit in. Like, yeah, this
That's
looks like
good to hear.
Yeah, I hope that
No,
I can
absolutely.
articulate that.
Yeah.
Like, it really just the way you guys shot it, and just certain, dude, for some reason, the Corvette or the convertible
Yeah.
scenes and stuff like that. Those were cinematic
Yeah.
shots. It was so well
Good.
done.
We had
I
a
guess is what I'm saying.
phenomenal cinematographer, Peyton Skelton. He's a Chicago local. Like I said, a lot of the crew was either family or friends, but no, we did manage to pull enough budget to hire real professionals to do it. So we were able to, you know, shoot it really well. It sounded really well. We're sound mixing it and editing ourselves. So obviously there's some hiccups here and there that we're able to fix because I don't have to pay an editor for studio time. It's just us. It's just how much am I willing to sweat and get eaten by mosquitoes. But yeah, I'm glad you saw the production value. We called in every single favor. I used my resources leading up to actually deciding that we were going to shoot this thing, and I listened to the directors that I look up to as mentors, and they're like, you know, call in every favor. Call your uncle who's got the bar. Call your cousin who has this cool car that would serve as a great character in the movie. So we did that. Like this is a community made movie. And we accomplished exactly what we sought out to do, but even better. Like we were really going on a whim. We didn't think things were going to work out. And even when some things don't, there's art and compromise. Like we found out how to make it work. And now you think back to how we originally wanted to do it. And I can't imagine doing it that way. You know, it's just like everything works out somehow. You just got to keep going.
There's art and compromise.
It's art and compromise, man.
That is said by you. I have never heard that.
Cool. I think
else.
It's been said. I'm sure we all just steal from each other. So it's been said, but
we're clipping this up. And
phenomenal.
There's going to be a clip, right?
Great. Perfect. I love it.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Now that you describe it like that community event, because you brought so many people in, you were able to make it look like this came from a big movie studio.
Yeah.
But, it just shows the power of when you can bring people together, what's possible.
Exactly. And it should be a testament to, it's not about the camera, it's about the story. Like, you don't need this $75,000 camera to tell a good story. There's $80 million movies that I can't believe were made for $80 million. Let's all be honest. There's a lot of content out there these days. And I'm not hating on anybody's movies, but they spend $80 million on this movie. Oh, they forget about the most important part, the story. So you can watch, or at least I can. I watch a lot of stuff. You can watch an $80 million movie and it's god awful. No story, but looks incredible, right? You can watch a $4 movie on a 90s video camera, and if the story's good, you're in it. It's all about the story. Like, it's really all about the story. And some people are forgetting that these days. I mean, there's a lot of corporations involved. Won't go into it. But it's all, in the end, if it's not on the page, it's not going to work. It's all about the story.
And adding on to that, when you can show people, hey, this is what I did with this budget.
Right.
And you can do it that well.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine if you got a bigger budget.
Right.
Not only are you going to be able to do more, but you're going to be wiser with that money.
Absolutely.
Because you know how to shoestring it and bring people together. Like, hey, we don't need to spend all that money over here. We can do this. So now it's gonna stretch even farther when you do get the bigger budget.
Filmmakers who can stretch a budget, I think, especially nowadays, I think they're going to be very much sought after. Like the Russo brothers, they come from a very indie background. Before you know it, they're directing Endgame. I think they did for Marvel. But they approach things from an indie. They can stretch a budget, and that's why being an indie filmmaker is so exciting. That's the best film school you could ever have, is finding your gang and just making things, because you figure it out as you go, and then whatever you bite off gets bigger and bigger. But you take what you used and learned in all these low budget where you didn't have the resources to make this happen or make that. You can make it work in an even bigger budget. I don't know. It's really interesting. I think it teaches you a lot.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think another thing I wanted to say about the movie too is it's so cinematic, yes, and then very artistic.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing the social media clips leading up to it, and it really made me want to see the movie.
Cool.
I'm like, this looks really cool. And like Anthony was posting all the clips, and they look cool with the music. And I'm like, man, I want to see this.
Yeah, right.
So when I finally got to see it, it lined up.
Yeah.
Like it lined up, just the feel of it, the soundtrack.
Did it live up to your expectations?
It did.
Cool.
And even more so, in a sense, because the story was so good. Like, it really did. You did a terrific job of telling that story.
My dad always says, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you don't need to put a crazy car wreck or something. Just keep it simple. Like, what are we trying to say? Stay true to the message. There is a message. We are trying to say something. We're not trying to preach, but we're just, like I said, there's been breakup movies before, but it hasn't been done by us. And I think every individual, you have to make it yours. What are you going to say? How are you going to say it? We say it with the music. We say it with, obviously, the story, but we say it with the way we shot certain things and showing Chicago. That's me. I love that city. My heart is in Chicago. That's very much a character for me. Treat every movie like it's your last movie, and bring yourself into it. And at some point, I think this was said during the film festival, it's like, at some point you got to start trusting yourself. Like, a lot of the time, what was stopping me was I'd write and be like, oh, no one's going to get this, or, oh, no one understands this. Well, if you think it, and it's a cliche at this point, if you think it, there's probably at least one more person who thinks that way. We're all connected. So just trust your instincts. I like this. Well, if one more person likes it, it's a success, So you just got to trust yourself. Yeah.
Self-sabotage is real.
Yeah,
That
it is.
voice.
It is.
We talk about this on the podcast often, but it's interesting because when you do start to progress, you would think that voice goes away. It actually gets louder sometimes.
Always. Yep. Yep.
It's like a balance thing. It's
Yep.
like, nope, we're still going to remind you over here. We're going to get in your head some more.
Yeah. I mean, we're still young-ish, but I don't think that's ever going to go away. I think it keeps, and it's good. I mean, it's good to check yourself. But then it's like being a whore for a good note when it comes to writing. I think you should always listen to notes, but then you'll develop your own method of, all right, what do you listen to? Right. I never tell anybody, I'm not looking for notes. I don't need Are you kidding? If anybody, it's like you guys taking the time to watch the movie. If anybody takes time to read your script, watch your movie, blah, 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 listen to your music, whatever, be so grateful. You know, it's awesome. It's an audience. Like they took the time to do that. So I'm a whore for all that shit. But you develop through trial and error or your own beliefs or likings, whatever, your own work experience of what you decide to listen to and incorporate, because we're all just students. You know, we're always learning.
I love that.
Yeah.
And especially in an age of so much content and there's so many options for people to do with their time and attention. So the fact that they take a look at your thing
is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's the dream, you know, whether it's 1 people or 100. I think all of our, at least, I mean, my dream is, I just came from work. I work at a nursery, a tree nursery. Shout out Moon Valley Nursery. Love you guys. But like I have a 9 to 5, but it pays for me to create my art. So I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, we're all just in this game. We're out here in LA. It's a game. How we do it is interesting. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. You know, it's cool. Cool.
I'm pulling from, I don't know if you'll remember this. I was walking into the Playhouse West. I think it was on Saturday of the festival.
Okay.
And I heard you and some others in a conversation.
You said something.
I did say something.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you were talking about in that conversation?
No. I don't remember at all.
Okay.
But I remember you stopping and saying, I'll talk to you about that.
Yeah. So, and I'm paraphrasing you, but you basically, it was something along the lines of, you know, it's tough making it out here, but I've never been happier.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And when I heard that, I'm like, it gave me like a jolt.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man. Like
it's a game. Like
this is a mindset too.
It really is. It's like we're here in the arena. Like, you know, I don't have a pot to piss in. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Because you know, look back and I could have tried that. I could have stayed longer. Could have sweated a little harder in the garage. It's awesome it's cool. Like if you're we're in the game. This is the arena. And it's meeting people like you and working with Eric and meeting Anthony and Evan and Wolf at Playhouse and, you know, us we're all in this together. It's sweet because you can always work on your plan B. It's like the closest thing to magic is like this thing we're trying to create. I've always been attracted, and thank God for the family I have. I'm very privileged. I come from a very artistic family they promote it, they encourage it. My dad is literally my writing partner. My mom's my producer. My sister's one of my producers. My brother, everybody's involved, but it's like life's too short. It's such a cliche, but like, let's just go for it. Let's try. Yeah. Worst case scenario. Oh, cool. We made Third Wheel. That's awesome. My uncles are in it when they're gone. My dad's in it in the diner. When he's gone, I can't wait to watch that scene. We made it for ourselves, whether anything happens with it or not.
You've already accomplished it. I mean, now it's just a matter of where it goes to now. So next question. What now?
So we're going to get some distribution on it. I've been a producer I come from like a documentary background. I've worked none of my own projects, but I've worked as like a producer on some feature length documentaries. And I have we've developed like a great relationship with some independent distributors. So one of them, you know, we're going to screen the movie for them this week. So we're pretty excited about that. And we have some plans to do a theatrical release before we go to streaming. We'll definitely be on streaming first quarter of 2025. But before that, we have like this crazy idea. We want to go to film schools and maybe show it at film schools and talk about how we made it. There's one thing, like there's one thing I always think. It's like I geek out on your podcast. I geek out on all these other resources that I've been able to find about how people have made these first projects, like what they did. And it's something I didn't get in film school. I didn't, it was more about, here's how do you, it was about, the big players are the big agencies in Hollywood and doing this and doing that and doing a press kit. It's like, okay, but what about making movies? Like, how do you make a movie? What's a line producer? Why do I need him? So nowadays we have resources like what you're doing. And like I said, all the other things I find that it's film school. I have somebody asking me like, hey, which film school I should go, which film school I should go to? Should I go to film school? I'm like, if going to film school, the most important thing you get out of it is finding a gang, like literally a crew. That's the most important thing you'll get from film school. It's just finding people who are down to create with you. It's starting a band. It's a garage band. Look at you guys. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
And we met at acting school, which so yeah, it was a much cheaper version of film school, which our acting school even has a mini film school in it. But you're entirely right. It's all about your network and people that you start from the bottom with, you're working with each other for free with, helping each other out,
Yep.
And just growing together.
That's the most important part. That's literally the most important part, So it's exciting. It's exciting.
That Van Halen mentality.
Yeah.
I hope I'm paraphrasing it correctly, but from my understanding, they were just perfectionists.
Yeah.
And just practicing in the garage for hours and playing gig after gig after gig.
Right.
And then finally that one thing. But
something sticks.
Yeah. And it's the whole overnight success thing. Really, when the more you start doing stuff and doing your thing for a while, you realize what that really is. Like, okay, these are just people that finally got to that point.
Yeah.
But after 10 years or more of solid work behind them.
It takes 10 years to be an overnight success.
Yeah.
And but it's cool. If you don't love, it's not the destination, it's the journey. If you're not obsessed, obsession beats talent any day. There's so many talented people out there. I worked with these guys who did this thing called the Unknown Tour. And it was phenomenal. So pretty much, long story short, they were working they were producers and directors in the music industry, and they got so sick of how the music industry has become so much about the industry and not about the music anymore. So like somebody who has 6 million followers on Instagram will get a record deal, but this guy who has Nirvana-esque music in his garage will never get noticed or something like that. So they quit the industry. They bought this bus, they turned it into this mobile recording studio, and they went from LA all the way up to New York. They hit like 30 cities in like 60 days. And they recorded an original album with just performers they met on the street. It's called like literally The Unknowns. It's called The Unknown Tour. And it's the coolest thing ever. There is so much more unknown talent than there is A-listers out there. The indie community is way bigger. And it's, we're all trying to do our own thing. So it's hard to support each other, but there's so much more. You don't have to get what's his face or what's her face to be in your movie. You know what's cooler than making a movie with movie stars? Making a movie with people who become movie stars. Like that's what, and it'll stop people from making stuff. Oh, we need to have this marketable. We should probably get one of these people. Cool. If you can do it, hell yeah. But you know what's cool? This chick's like, I believe in her. You emotionally invest in everybody, And there's so much talent, especially here in LA, but there's so much talent throughout the world. It's nuts. It's exciting. That's what gets me going, is that.
And we have the tools and technology to produce what we want to produce.
Yeah. I was the best actor on set of Third Wheel. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but no one knew that. I walked in I always had like in my head, I'm like, okay, as soon as I walk through that door, because there was a crew. There was a crew of professionals who have been on so many fucking movies. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear. Can I swear?
Oh, you can swear.
Cock, balls, tits, shit.
Bitch, asshole,
Don't
motherfucker.
celebrate it, Frank.
YouTube just shadow banned us right there.
Shit.
There you go.
No, but every day, like before I showed up to set, I'm like, okay, what's the first thing I'm doing? Because it's like it's setting. I was an actor. I'm like, I've never directed before. I've never done a short film before, other than like the 6th grade movie that I did, which whatever. Never done it. But no one knew that. Not even Anthony. No one. Not even my dad. I didn't tell anybody. I'm like, I have no fucking idea. Do I yell action? Like, do I yell cut? Like, when do I do it? But no matter what, every single day, I always planned out what I was doing is the first thing, just one thing. As soon as I walk in that door, what am I doing? So that people think I'm busy or like look busy. And I always did that and set the tone. Because you don't want to walk in, if you're a first-time director, you don't want to walk in and just look like you're just there and everybody else is working, but you just have that one thing. I don't care if it's like getting water for your actors, just fake it. And then the rest, you really do figure it out. You figure it out. And now I can direct a movie. I directed a feature. It's surreal to me. And now I'm addicted to it.
It's incredible. Like, it's really a great example of someone who just really went outside the comfort zone and just is with you. It's just like, you just, okay, yeah, well, you got over that. Oh, I got to do this before I can do this.
Right.
You're like, no, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And just went into it.
Yeah.
And made it happen.
Right.
And it's amazing like what we can do, but our mind holds us back so much.
Yeah. I was an accountant while I was writing Third Wheel. Like, I went from working in development to being like I found myself for 5 years working in like entertainment, but the business management side of things, where I was like an accountant for the entertainment industry. And my clients were people who I wanted to be. They were writers, directors, producers, actors. I'm like, and I felt myself, there's a line in the movie, Bird says it. He's like, man, you're 25 going on 50 in a place like this. And that's what I felt like. That's what I felt like in that place. You kind of know when you're not supposed to be somewhere. It feels bad. And it's like I said, back to the 9 to 5 thing, it was supporting my writing and my creating. So I have no knocks on it. I loved it, made great connections. But until at one point I was like, are we going to do this? Because if I can see myself turning 60 at this job, and it's a great plan B, but at some point you got to go for plan A. All right, I've worked for plan B. Oh, I got this, I got that. Oh yeah, all this bullshit I put on the paper or whatever. At some point you got to go for plan A, right? And there's no time limit on it. Some of the most amazing artists or whatever known have late starts or didn't blow up until 40 or 50 or even 60. But at some point you just got to take the jump. And that's what we did. We took a jump. We're like, no, we're doing this fucking thing ourselves. And once you decide that, it's all about doing the next right thing, like one thing at a time. What's going to get us one foot closer to like making this thing happen. And before you know it, oh, wow. Oh, we've taken 12 steps. Oh, dude, what the hell? Oh, we have an Indiegogo. Oh shit, there's money in there. Oh, wow. Oh, Anthony just responded to us. Oh shit. Oh, uncle can give us the car. Oh shit. Now you're making a movie. It's like, it happens, takes a lot of work, but the work scares people. I think if you're obsessed with it, it kind of comes easy.
Yeah, everything takes work. That's one thing even if it's stuff you absolutely love, there's a lot of work.
There's work involved. Yeah. But if you like it, it's like, gives a shit. It's fun. Like, look at us. We're sweating our balls off here, right?
Yeah.
But this is cool. Like, I love this. This is what I'm about.
You can appreciate
this. Just so everybody know, we're sweating our balls off. This is awesome. Yeah, but this is cool.
Yeah.
And that's why when I heard about your show, I'm like, obviously I saw Anthony was on it, but now I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm an avid listener. It's one of my resources. I have like 4 podcasts that I listen to religiously.
Thank you.
I just can't keep up with you. I gotta
just make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube.
I did. Did you see me subscribe? I realized I wasn't a subscriber.
It shows sometimes some people, and sometimes. So I don't know if it's a setting where people on their profile say, "Hey, I don't want people to know when I subscribe."
Dude, I literally subscribed today.
Good.
No, literally today, and I'm like, shit, they're gonna think that I was not a subscriber.
He's just subscribing right before he comes on.
Yeah.
Well, no, but this is the beautiful thing about it, because it shows the connected synergy of all this. You're listening to it, and now you're coming on and contributing your thought pieces to this, which is now going to be distributed to people, and people are going to hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is like my first podcast. Like, I'm a listener, but I've never been on one.
This is your first podcast.
It's my first podcast, man.
Wow, this is great.
I was kind of scared in the car. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to say?
You're doing fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah.
I talk a lot. I like to talk.
That's what we need for podcasts. Yeah.
Eric knows. We worked together for one day. He probably hates my voice, but yeah. But this is cool. Like what you're doing. This is the age, The pendulum is swinging back. I think this is a really exciting time to make shit. And nobody knows what's going on. At least I don't. I don't know. I live in my own universe, but
I relate, man, because because logic will talk you out of everything. Like
Absolutely.
logic will go, why are you doing this?
right.
You need to stop doing this.
Yeah.
You need to go get your life together and
Right.
go do the stable thing or whatever. But it's like, that's part of the trap.
Yeah.
That's part of the
Right.
trap. And I can feel it right now. Even when I'm saying that, there's that part of me is like, do you even know what you're saying?
Right.
You literally have to put it down.
Yeah.
And be like, no, this is not how it's going to go.
I agree. And guess what?
This is how it's going to go.
And let it go that way. You can always go back. Like we're all, we're if you're a good person and you don't kill anybody, you can always go back. So like just fucking try it. Like how long did it take for you to start this podcast up? Like, did you just realize you wanted to do it and then maybe talk yourself out of it? Like, oh, there's so much of this shit. And then you're like, oh, well, wait, I'll do it. How did that work for you?
Yeah, I was in the back because I had done interviewing shows before in Las Vegas when I lived there, but it was back of the mind for a while. But then when the pandemic hit, everything's just done.
Yeah, right.
I was doing the whole like, all right, got the 2 years of acting school in, got some stage time experience. Let's go get the manager and agent. I was like all gung ho, and then boom, March 16th or whatever that date was.
16th. That's so funny. It's like we know that date.
What was that? Like,
that's when they did the federal emergency.
Yeah.
And Trump was like, hey, I'm declaring the federal emergency. I remember going to the grocery store that day thinking like, I'll just go grab a couple things before. And I walked in and I'm like, oh my gosh.
No, it was nuts. We'll tell our kids about it. It's kind of insane.
Isn't that crazy? Like it happened.
No. I was just having, I'm sure we all have these conversations, but I was just having this conversation yesterday with my coworkers. It was like, no one remembers those 2 years. Like I wish we would have just, after it was done, like I don't think it should be turning 2025 right now. I think it should be 2022. We should relive those years. No regrets. But I'm saying like the year, I can't tell you what I was doing in that time. Those years don't exist in my mind. It's weird. And they all felt the same. It's crazy.
It's some type of time warp happened or something.
But it was nice though to have that reset, and everybody was probably like doing self-care things. Like everyone started like working from home and be like, oh, and
people started learning about themselves, like we were talking about.
New talents, new skills, new interests. Like it was kind of a magical time, even though all there were deaths, of course, but it was a catalyst. It
was, and no one wants it to be a pandemic for us to take that jump or whatever, or learn about ourselves. But yeah, it took a pandemic for us. I mean, even like the workforce, like realizing that, people can spend more time with their family and maybe not commute 5 days a week and work from home.
I could not wear pants and just be on this Zoom call the whole time. Like, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it showed us that we were doing a lot of things unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Like you can still get things done. You don't. It doesn't have to be pure chaos all the time.
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
But back to your question. But yeah, so I had started it during that time, and then I have told this 1,000 times on here, but I had a major injury. So things were on halt for a while. And then, I was doing it in person, but I'm like, oh man, I can't do it in person right now. There's no point. And my one guy was just like, dude, just start doing them on Zoom or just start doing them online. I fought it. I was stubborn.
Right.
So relating it to like the people making films, like people like, oh, if I can't shoot it on an Epic Red camera or whatever, I can't do it.
Right.
It's like, well, guess what? This right here, this iPhone.
That is better than any camera that they used back in 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Or even less than, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know cameras, but
So I did about 40 in a row, just fast. And it was burn and turn. Come on, quick export and iMovie out the next day.
Yeah.
And was it the highest quality? Of course not.
Gives a shit.
But I was getting my licks in.
Yeah.
I was having tons of conversations. And I'm like, okay, working stuff out, getting better.
It's for you. You know what I mean? It's a workout. It's exactly what it is.
And like what we were saying in the beginning of the conversation, the only way to get great at something is to continuously do it. So then Eric and I joined forces, and now him and I are over 50 episodes in together.
That's crazy.
And we are still learning and fine tuning along the way. But the only way we get to this point right here with this episode with you is if we get all those in before you.
It's just doing it.
You just got to do it. And even if people come in with fancy equipment and all this, if you don't have the experience of doing it, you're just not going to, it's just not,
Experience outweighs anything,
Yeah.
any nice camera, any this,
Yeah.
any it's just failure, right?
Yeah.
Being okay to fail. Like, oh, well, the first time we shoot a movie, it needs to be fucking Godzilla, or it needs to be,
Yeah.
you know, When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
No, dude, it can be work up to that, or you never know. Try it. That's when that's when something unexpected happens. So you try your podcast, it's exactly what you just said. It's led up to this. You know, me trying my movie, I would have never made a movie if I just kept listening to what you're supposed to do. But now I'm sitting here with you, talking about my movie on your podcast with Eric, who I'm working with on another project.
Yeah.
See how it's like,
Yeah.
you just got to do the next right thing and not be afraid, because who gives a shit? Even when I was making Third Wheel, I'm like, okay, yeah, we're investing a lot of time, and, you know, it's a credit card movie. I invested a lot of money into it as well.
I love that term, by the way, and I totally relate.
Yeah. I mean, credit card movies. Yeah, credit card podcasts. Yeah, credit card AC, credit card everything.
Credit card groceries.
Me and my friends call it the free card. We're like, dude, did the free card work? They're like, yeah, dude. Like, we're like, just keep swiping until it doesn't work. No, don't do that. But you know what I mean? We call it the
Do
free
not
card.
take financial advice from us LA creators
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, right.
But just know we will damn well do whatever to get the project made.
Absolutely.
That's the difference of the LA mentality.
That's the LA mentality, dude. You gotta invest in yourself and fucking fail. I love it. I literally thrive. I literally, like, when someone tells me no, I'm like, I call Anthony. I'm like, dude, yeah, no, he's not about it. And we're both like, awesome, sick. All right, cool. Keep that in the back pocket. We know he'll be calling us. You know what I mean?
Have you seen, I'm sure you have, Wedding Crashers?
Of course.
So Eric and I have something, and Eric, I hope you don't mind me sharing this. The part where Will Ferrell, he finally meets him. Owen Wilson meets him. What's his name? Chad or whatever.
Chad, yeah.
And he goes in there.
Chaz. Pick up your fucking skateboard.
Yeah. And he tells him how Vince Vaughn's character's out of the game and all this. And he immediately looks at him and goes, good.
Yeah.
Good. More for me and you.
Yeah, right.
So when we come into like a hiccup or something, just like, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it to us.
It's more if we had I'm glad now. Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm glad. Good.
But it's an energy. Jocko Willink, he has a famous clip from his podcast or wherever he's like, you got fired today? Good. Go work harder.
Yeah.
This happened in your life? Good.
Yeah.
It's like, it is an energy.
Yeah.
It really is. Instead of like, oh no, poor me. It's like, all right. Like,
fuck it.
I got smacked in the face.
Yes.
I'll share this with you guys. It's in this book I read called 3 Feet from Gold. This guy's interviewing Holyfield. And he's like, man, what was it like taking all those hits? And Holyfield's like, yeah, you get hit a lot, but I'm not thinking about me getting hit. I'm thinking about how hard I'm hitting back.
Yeah, right.
That right there, I literally stopped on the page. I'm like,
that's cool.
I got goosebumps just saying that, because it is that mentality. It is, no matter how good you are, how much money you have, you are going to get smacked.
Yeah.
But it's like, what are you punching back with?
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. And you should pride yourself off that. How many times you've been hit, you know what I mean? And get back up. And what's so cool is, I don't know, I'll let you know, and we'll let each other know when it works out. But you 100% won't make it if you don't get up, right? Like, many people have said that. So just get up, keep getting up. And if you're in it for the destination, you should probably give up anyway, because it's hard. Like, it's very hard. It's super fucking hard. What we do, I'm not trying to blow smoke up all of our asses. It's fucking hard, you know? But it's fun. Like, it's not harder than, you know, we're not front lines in Afghanistan right now.
Right.
We're trying to make fucking movies. And a lot of us, you know, we have friends, we have family, people who are supportive and behind us if we need to be pulled out of a rut or something like that. Just do it. Just go for it. It's fun. It's fucking cool. I love you guys.
I love you too, man. It's
You're all right.
You're all right.
You're all right.
Look at us sweating our balls off.
Yeah.
Good.
I like it. I like it. Keep it going.
I love
I
it.
wish it was hotter.
Oh, like, damn, it's freaking freezing in here.
Let's turn the oven on so we can really start.
How are my nipples hard right now? Yeah.
No, you are right, and it is. It really is such a mental game. And to piggyback off what you're saying, one thing that's helped me too is I sometimes pause even when I am having these moments. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm still in the game.
Mm-hmm.
like Blake's coming over tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're filming. Eric's coming. We're gonna make this tonight.
Yeah.
I'm still in the freaking game, man.
Dude, this wasn't out into the world until the three of us got together right now. Isn't
Yeah.
that kind of cool?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the mentality. And then part of me was like, man, when I said new episode coming out once a week,
Mm-hmm.
now it's like that's a whole other workload,
Right.
and it's a commitment.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, okay, are you ever gonna have to pull back from that?
You're right.
Possibly.
But if you do, it's okay.
It's okay,
Yeah.
but if I can still keep doing once a week,
Yeah.
and credit to Eric, man, like, because I can't
Continue.
do that without him. When I had that conversation, like, I think we can do one of these a week, because
It's
that's a lot of back and forth.
That's a lot.
We do. A lot of
I
content.
don't know how that's actually incredible.
But it's been great just how much we've grown because we took on that big bite.
right.
Like,
Upped
you know,
Oh,
our game.
Yeah.
and the biggest thing, we talk about this all the time, is that when we hit these problems, like we hit a wall, it's like we don't have time to worry about, because we got to worry about the next one. So that's been just a huge learning experience of
Yeah.
itself, because we hit a bunch of obstacles through this.
I get it.
Where we had some high expectations on certain things, like, and then it just was like zero. And
Yep.
but we don't have time to worry about that. We got the next one coming.
Yeah.
So
You move on.
Yeah.
You keep going.
Stay busy, because, and also, like, I read this too, life's like quicksand. You got to keep moving or you'll sink. So
You're right.
when you stay busy, when you keep moving forward, when obstacles and things happen, they really don't affect you as much.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's just kind of
That's exactly right.
I can picture you and Anthony talking to each other.
50 times a day. Like literally. Like hey, this didn't work out. Ah, fuck it. I'll see you at 4. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Just go.
Yeah.
But what do you got to lose?
Yeah. And really, I think in the social media age, I think everyone's so distracted and preoccupied. Anyhow, I think the people that are truly the producers are the ones that break through,
Yep.
because we don't have time to have pity parties or to just get the project done.
Yeah. Right.
The credit card thing's hilarious. Like,
No, it's real.
It's completely
And
real.
Anthony and I say this to each other too. We're like, we literally will just text each other and just be like unstoppable, because we're unstoppable. Because no matter how many people don't like our stuff or tell us no, or this isn't going to happen, it doesn't matter. We're still fighting. So we're in control of our own thing. And when he's down, I get him. When I'm down, he gets me. It's all about the team, right? It's all about the team. So, it's hard to kill people who aren't afraid of death. We're just going to keep going. And we like what we're doing. There's an energy when you find your garage band, like, let's make shit. And who cares if people don't like it, or who cares if we have to do it ourselves. You're just building, we're all main characters of our own movie. We're just building ourselves up, right? Everything you learn, it would be great to have, Warner Brothers or whoever produce this podcast for you. Oh yeah. But no, we're doing it like this. This is fucking cool. This is what I geek out on. And there's people, like famous people, who they've all worked their ass off, but there's few who fell into it. They don't know about this. I listen to podcasts where like, wow, oh my God, like you did the indie film. Like, they don't even know. So they're at the top thinking about how we do it, and we're down at the bottom wishing we were up there. Yeah. It's not the destination, it's the journey. There's people who are jealous that we're doing it the way we're doing it. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, and it's a part of the move. I think there's going to be a lot of great stuff that comes out that people are going to be attracted to, and stuff that we haven't seen or heard from, and voices we haven't heard from, because we've been mass producing shit for for a business rather than artists making good shit. There's a reason why the 90s was pretty awesome. This is such an exciting time to make your own shit, and I think we're lucky to be doing this.
Very blessed.
Yeah.
Very grateful to be even. So many people would do anything to even be able to do some of the stuff all three of us in this room have done before.
Yeah.
So at the
A
end
lot
of
of
the day,
that has to do with technology. I mean, this shit wasn't even really that possible.
Right.
It would have been much like, I think they shot Swingers. I think they still needed 250K
They did.
or something like that.
Back
It's
in
like
the 90s too.
Yeah. So it was worth even more. But here, I mean, honestly, you could probably shoot Swingers a little cheaper than that now, especially like
Absolutely.
significantly cheaper, just because things have gotten cheaper,
Right.
and then like you can edit it yourself in your room
Yeah.
now, where back then you're like, yo, that wasn't an option.
Right.
Yeah, they probably shot it on film for all we know.
did,
Like,
right.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, the fact that everything's digital, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. That's funny you brought that up too. It's like you can probably shoot that for much cheaper. Like I can't, there's cover songs are a thing. Musicians will make cover songs. I can't believe it's not, unless I haven't discovered it yet. I can't believe it's not a thing that people don't do cover films. Like me and my girlfriend lay in bed, our favorite movie is When Harry Met Sally. So for Christmas one year, I adapted the script of When Harry Met Sally into When Blake Met Taylor. That's her name, Taylor, and changed the location. Like we could shoot it ourselves, change the locations to where, all the dialogue's the same. But it would be like a cover movie. I'm surprised people don't do more of that yet, unless I haven't heard of it yet, because you're saying you could shoot swingers for cheaper. That's something like I want to do. Like I want to pick a movie and reshoot it. People think about it all the time, but no one.
Would you start changing other stuff like the dialogue
I don't know.
and the story?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's it's a cover song, right? So like if you're doing a cover song of a Green Day song, I mean, no, you keep it you can make it yours, change things. Maybe there's a drum involved, different things, but I think the heart of it itself, the dialogue, everything should be the same. It's a cover, but I think that's a cool practice that I kind of wish film schools would do. I think that'd be cool. Like go out and remake When Harry Met Sally. I would have loved doing that. Like I want to do that. My next film might be a cover film, just as like a practice. You don't need to show it to anybody, but wouldn't that be cool? Like, hey babe, dude, remember we made this? It's pretty cool. I don't know how we went on that tangent. I'm just saying cover films are cool.
I've seen films, or I was cast in a couple like cover scenes before. Like we did like the Wolf of Wall Street scene, but it was just a scene. It wasn't the full film.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Wouldn't it be interesting to watch a cover film though?
It would be.
Like, I don't know. I guess it depends on who's making it, but also just a great exercise. Like when I watch movies, I look at scenes and I'm like, oh, I want to recreate that. And talk about calling card. Like you can make your original stuff, but if you can recreate a really cool shot for however much money, not that money has anything to do with it, but that's part of your portfolio. Look what we created. Like you guys did that in Goodfellas. Oh, we did it like this too. I can make that shot. I don't know.
I think
Weird
people
tangent.
shoot scenes.
Yeah.
But I don't think the full movie like you're describing, which that's a whole other art. Because I think for the actors, the scene, the director and filmmaker definitely play a role, but for them to really showcase like, here's how we're going to shoot it.
Right. I don't know. Maybe
you make
much
some
time.
different choices too. Maybe like you said, the dialogue stays the same. Like instead of shooting this angle, we're going to shoot it like
that. And it goes back to the thing. It's like, if anything, if you don't got anything going on, it's like it's an exercise. Everything's an exercise.
Yeah.
But we are blessed. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to edit the movie if it wasn't for the technology today. It's insane. I never even thought I was an editor.
You aren't until you are.
You aren't until you are. That's true. That's so true. It's pretty cool. It's exciting.
Dude, you came in with some great energy here today.
Yeah, man.
Like we're pumped up.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to discuss that's on your mind?
No. Look out for Third Wheel. It's coming out. We're coming hard. We're already gearing up for the next one, which I'm excited to share. Fourth wheel from the guys who brought you Third Wheel comes Fourth Wheel. But yeah, it should be out on streaming 2024. Maybe we'll talk after. I would love to talk to you again after it gets released. But we're going. We're coming up hard, and because we have a team, and I consider you guys part of that team too.
Awesome. No, I love it. And we got some more time, so I just want to make sure if you had anything you wanted to get down. But no, I will say on the Third Wheel again, like brilliant job by yourself, the cast, your family, everyone involved. It's a masterpiece, man.
I appreciate that.
To have that on your first one, it's a very cool body of work.
Cool.
And I'm happy for all you guys. And it sounds like though you had the mentality
to just do
make that happen and just do it. It's a great example for anyone, even if they're not a filmmaker. Whatever you want to do, just Nike really did have it right.
No, I know. Just do it.
Just do it.
Honestly, while you're saying that too, it's kind of surreal because I was thinking back to while you were saying that, I was thinking back to all the podcasts that I listened to while I was deciding whether to make it or not. And so if I'm now the person, like, and that person is me, just do it. You can do it. there's always a $2 million version of the script. Then there's a $1 million version of the script. Then there's a $500,000 version of a script. There's a $25,000, and then there's a $10,000, and then there's a free one. But if you want to tell the story, there's art in compromise. Find a way to do it. You don't need a lot of money to do it, and figure it out, because it's an exciting time. But it's crazy. It's like, these are great resources. People should go out and make your thing. And guess what? If it's bad, you just don't show it. There's nothing to lose except your credit card balance. But yeah.
Did you always have this mentality growing up?
I didn't even know I had it until I sat down with you. No, I did. I come from like a competitive background. Like I said, I'm privileged to have a really supportive family. I'm not saying like financially that, where I'm saying like they were cool. There's a lot of people I know whose parents aren't cool with them being actors or pursuing the arts. Mine did. And having that is huge. And I'm so thankful for that. But I come from I played sports in high school. I played football in Arizona, which football in Arizona is like what you would think football is in like Texas from Friday Night Lights. It's very serious. And that's actually why like me, Anthony, and Evan, and obviously my brother and my dad, we all come at like our business from a competitive background. Like, if that asshole can do it, we can do it, and we have a lot to learn along the way, but we can do it. You can do it. Nike, just do it. It's so true. Like, just figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
And do it. So yeah, I don't know. I've always been like, we can, no matter what it is, you can figure it out. And then you just manifest it, I guess. And like Jim Carrey said, you can't manifest and go eat a sandwich. Like, yeah, you got to put one foot in front of the other. But what are you going to do today that's going to separate you from one other filmmaker trying to do the same thing? Right? Do one thing today, whether it's sending an email, whether it's talking to your partner on the phone, whether it's doing a podcast like this, whether it's like doing a proof of concept and meeting Eric, who now I have a sound guy, now I have an actor and a creator like you in our garage band. Like,
I love the garage band theme,
dude,
by the way.
Gets us going. I love that we're sweating our asses off.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
And if that Warner Bros exec ever does want to meet, we're going to crank it up to like 110.
Yeah.
He's going to sit right there.
He doesn't get to leave until he signs a check.
Or, I mean, I'd be willing to go to his office.
Yeah, right. But I'm glad you liked Third Wheel, and I heard your conversation with Anthony. I think you picked up on some of the inspirations and references, with Bueller and
Yeah. I'm glad you brought him up, because I meant to say this. And I've said this publicly. I would say that to him standing right here. Dude, his energy, it's like through the roof. And
I know. We talked about this like a year ago when we talked on the phone.
When we talked on the phone. And that, I mean, getting to this point, I just love I love how it happens. Cause I don't know, for anyone watching or listening that goes, well, how do people get on this podcast? It happens in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And with us, we got connected through Anthony, obviously. We had a great phone conversation, and then
we talked for like over an hour.
Yeah, for a long time, and then we talked. Okay, like, I'm gonna see Third Wheel, but then I finally see Third Wheel, and I see you. I meet you in person.
Yeah,
and then we set this up, and now we're
Isn't that
here.
Crazy?
But like, for some people, that probably happened in a couple of weeks. Like, no, that was, I think it was last December when
I was gonna say it's got to be almost a year ago.
It was a while ago.
Yeah,
9 months at least.
Yeah, right.
So I'm a big believer in things happen when they're supposed to happen.
Me
so
too.
it's a fine line, because you got to keep making things happen, but there is also timing with certain things as you're moving forward.
Yeah.
It's a dance.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
It is a dance. It's, whether it's all the same shit. I call it the universe. The universe plays a role into it, which is timing, and it's just be ready when the time comes.
Yeah. And just another advantage to LA too, that I've really realized of being here is it's the people. I got to be around people like Eric, people like yourself, because we believe in it. Like, we have that.
No, we're all crazy fuckers. Like, we're really crazy. Are. Yeah.
So when Anthony, who's a little bit younger, I'm around his energy, I'm like, man, I remember when I was his age. I was just as fun. Like, you got to be around that or else it starts to die out. Cause you
Yeah,
if
you got to be around
yeah.
because that's so true. You got to keep it because what keeps us all fucking doing this crazy thing, right? Is like the childlike energy in us because we're all, we're creative. We like to play pretend. It's fun. Like that's what acting and being an artist and making movies, like it's all, we're all addicted to this thing. I come at everything from like a childlike persona. Like it's just fun. I don't want I can go and have the, full on 9 to 5, but this is so weird and every day is different and we don't know if this is going to work or it's cool. It's the closest, it's music. It's like the closest thing to magic there is. And if you have a bug for it, it's worth exploring it,
It gives you purpose.
Yeah. And it's okay to have the 9 to 5 too. Like it pays for your art. I always say every job I have, it's like, oh, it's my temp. It's my temp job. My real job is waiting for me. It's my dad and Anthony back in the garage, So it's cool. We all have our own way. You meet people along the way. You're going to get hit a million fucking times. Just get up. Just get up. And take pride in it. Take pride in getting hit. Cool.
Yeah.
Hit me.
Yeah, good. I want 2 black eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this has been phenomenal. And you'll get the last word. We'll plug everything. Eric, do you have anything else?
I just out of curiosity. So I know your film, what's it running when we saw about 2 hours?
You saw an hour 46.
Hour 46.
Yeah.
So the way you said you've changed it so much, it makes me think that you probably have a lot of extra footage that you've been able,
Great question.
Yeah. Cause I'm curious about that. Because if you've made all these edits and still hour 46, that means you weren't just cutting stuff. You must have a lot of options.
Oh yeah. There's full story that didn't make it into the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had the luxury of filming a lot, like the full first assembly rough cut with every single scene in the movie. I think it was maybe just around 4 hours, So there's cuts and there's scenes that completely didn't make the movie. And then you start reforming the story a little bit. You guys talk about it. Everybody talks about it. You make the movie 3 times, right? You write it, you shoot it, and then you edit it. Editing it is insane. It really is. I mean, there are full-on sequences, dynamics, stuff that, if I could write a book would be a main part of the book, but couldn't make the movie. Because of the format, it's really hard to write a script and to make a movie. It's hard. You got to cut some shit out. You got to keep it flowing. But yeah, to answer your question, there's so much stuff that didn't make it in. That maybe one day will be seen on a extra, what's it called? Special features DVD.
How close to what was in your mind
Mm-hmm.
is in the product that's out now?
It's very, very close. Like if you read the script, it's pretty much to the T besides the stuff that we cut out. As far as shooting it, like I said, I'm 2 years advanced now. There's a lot production wise that I would do differently as far as it looking differently and stuff. But no, I mean, we sought out to make, the end product is exactly what I sought out to make. It actually exceeds my expectations because I really did go into it with, hey, we'll see what we get. We had no playback. Like I didn't have a video village. Everything we didn't do any pickups. Everything, we didn't pay for any locations. Everything we had, we just had to trust that we had it. And I didn't get one glimpse of it until we returned back here to edit it. And it's kind of cool. Like I wouldn't go back and reshoot. Like I said, when I watch the movie, I see things like, oh, I would have done that better. But there's an innocence about it. You only get to shoot your first movie once. You only get to be that scared one time. I think you're always scared no matter what. It's like a football game. No matter how many games you've played, you're still scared when you come out of the tunnel. It's a different game. But you only get to experience the first time once. So don't redo it. Just whatever you got, do it and go with it. And it turned out it exceeded my expectations because of the performances, because of us sticking to the story and the theme and staying true to ourselves and trying things and failing things. And so it's been insane, the best experience ever. And so to hear you guys say that you actually enjoyed it is incredible, is like a dream come true.
And I think it's good too of you painting the whole picture of the story too, of the phase you're in now. You're still making edits.
Mhm.
So people that think like, oh, I made a movie, I'm done. Like, if there's a
Oh yeah, no.
there's
That's
a
when the
lot
real
more.
work starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when it is out for distribution, guess what? Now there's marketing.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Getting the word out.
It's insane. You just got to do the work,
Yep.
and it's fun. If you're obsessed, it's easy. If you're obsessed, it comes easy. Look at, we're sweating our asses off in here. You guys we're obsessed. We want to do this thing.
Yeah.
And some people wait for other people to give them the opportunity to do it, or you do it your fucking self.
I'm of that.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Especially, if I don't know, like it feels, not to go off on any type of soapbox.
Go off on everything.
It's kind of like the ugly duckling mentality a little bit, like that's not the best.
I kind of get what you're
just
putting
kind of
down.
like you were always looked underdog.
Yeah.
The underdog.
Oh,
That's what I
love
meant.
an underdog story.
Yeah, underdog. Even the cartoon, like it's always looked over, always maybe not the most talented in the room, maybe not the best looking in the room, but I align with you 100% on the obsession part, obsession over talent, because I myself in many different industries have seen the most talented, intelligent people not stick around, and sometimes they just quit.
Yeah, right.
Like sometimes they just quit, and that just creates opportunities for the people that are obsessed just to get in there.
Yeah, yeah. And don't get me wrong, if you're not obsessed but you still want to make something, fucking obviously make it. But yeah, the people who are gonna the players in our quote unquote industry, Anthony and I call it the league. Like I said, it's like a competitive thing. We're gonna be players and we're gonna be in the league. You gotta be willing to do the work. You gotta be willing, if you want to be a real player, and it starts with making your own shit. Don't wait around for people to do it.
And you definitely need to talk to film schools. I think you'd be great at it.
Yeah. That's what it's like I said, I wish while I was in film school, there were dudes who literally just did exactly what we just did, because I really want to share it, because I know there's a dude. I was that guy. I'm like, oh, dude, can you just tell me? And that's why you're always researching how'd they do it, or how'd Favreau do it, but super quick. No, just lay it out. How did you do it? And it's different. It's always different. Everybody's got different ways of doing this, that, calling in favors, that. But it is very valuable to share your experience. And I really do want to share how I did it, because it's impossible. I can't believe we made the movie. I would have 2 years, we shot it. Today's the 3rd. I was returning home from Chicago exactly 2 years ago. We drove, and I still didn't think that there was going to be a movie made, even though we had just shot it. It's like, oh, now we got to go get an editor. So now you got to do this, It's like, because no one told me that experience. I mean, yeah, you can go and look for it, but yeah, it's just listen, use all your resources. And I'm willing to share that if you guys want me to talk about it.
I love it. Well, where can people find you if they want to hear about your resources? Where can they find, and I know Third Wheel has its own social media too. Where are all the people?
Go to, so we have our production company. It's fulloutfilms.com, FULLOUT films.com. You can get in contact with me. You can see like our development slate, some projects that we're working on right now, as like I said, as well as get in contact with us. I'm also on Instagram, Blake Tamarkin, at Blake Tamarkin. Fulloutfilms.com and at Blake Tamarkin. Look for us, look for Anthony, follow this podcast. We got a lot of things coming, and I hope I'll be back soon. I hope you'll have me, because I like talking to you. I'm a big talker.
No, we love having you too. I think you've solidified yourself as a reoccurring guest.
Nice. You got to keep it this hot though.
Yeah.
I'm sweating. I love it.
I'm drenched.
Yeah.
Eric, you have anything?
No, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate you guys.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Congratulations to everything you've accomplished, and really love this conversation. We're definitely going to have to do a part 2.
Absolutely.
Again, amazing job with Third Wheel. I always give the guests the last word. It can be as deep or as shallow as you want. It can be advice. It can be a joke. Absolutely anything. The floor is yours.
That's so interesting. Okay. Fuck. How about I mean, wow, that's some pressure. Follow Sam Dever podcast. Follow Sam Dever podcast. That's where I'll lead you up. I don't know. I don't got anything. What do people say?
I'm cool with that one.
That's the greatest last word we've ever had.
Follow the Sam Dever podcast.
There we go.
Blake, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. Thanks, Eric.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. Sam Dever, the Sam Dever podcast here, and I just want to thank you for checking out this episode. To watch and listen to future episodes, be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@thesamdeverpodcast. Thank you so much. See you soon.